everybody, welcome to another segment of Tony's show. And today we are going to be everywhere and nowhere. Today was July 1st, Canada Day. Oh, Canada. We have some real winners here. Won't go any further because what I would make sign with here wouldn't be appropriate to say on the radio. I'll let you fill that gap. Anyway, today I had some interesting conversations with people. I had a consultation with a woman from Illinois. I had a woman contact me from the Caribbean. And it was interesting. They both told me that they listen to my programs and they're pretty faithful to listening to them, which is always good to hear because it means I'm doing something right. And, you know, they're telling me what's going on down in the Caribbean. The bullshit is incredible. I mean, the bullshit is incredible. And I was talking to the woman in Illinois, and we're talking about Black Lives Matter. And I got to tell you something. For those of you who are light skin toned, don't think that everybody with a dark skin tone agrees with this movement. They don't. In fact, a lot of them are appalled by this movement. And some might say, well, these are nothing but Uncle Toms. Some of you don't know what an Uncle Tom is, but that's okay. It's just a reference to, well, another terminology they used to use was the term Oreo. A person who was colored on the outside and white on the inside, which again was a derogatory term to anybody of the colored persuasion. But this isn't true. And in our conversations, we're talking about the same thing we've talked about on the show. If the brothers were so brotherly, why didn't they go to Minneapolis and finish this? Why did they destroy the inner city? And it was ironic because the woman I was talking to that was in Illinois lived in Michigan. She actually lived in the Detroit area. And she knew, when we talked, she knew about the neighborhood I was referencing to. Small world. Small world. It was Grand River. So I think what's going on today is this is really interesting when you sit there and analyze everything. They're giving everybody masks, and now they're talking to everybody about mandatory masks across Canada and the United States. Why do we need a mask at 80 and 90 degree temperatures is beyond my scope of understanding in regarding to viral infections, when viruses die at the temperatures are 80 and higher. So there's now, what's the agenda? That's the question you got to ask yourself. What is the agenda? Why are they forcing these effing masks on everybody, especially when they're gassing out highly toxic components? Now the symbolism behind this, and both women said this, they both got this, that the mask was a muzzle, meaning you have no voice. You can be seen and not heard. And I thought, well, how interesting is that analysis? And let's take that another step. Let's really dig a little bit. Okay, you got the brothers jumping all over the place, destroying the inner cities and the downtown core, and then Antifa moves in. Now, isn't that interesting? And then nobody says nothing. There's the muzzle, the face mask, not saying nothing. And then colored folks that got involved causing all these problems are nowhere to be found. But Antifa is there. Then I watched a program last week. We did a show on it. Guys went to do an interview in the downtown Queen's Park area, where the Queen's Park is the capital of Ontario, Toronto. And they couldn't get in. They're being silenced, they're being whatever, saying that this was their land, this was this was that. And we made a point in the conversation stating that slavery was abolished about 1800, and yet the light-skinned people are being blamed for having slaves. None of us have ever had slaves, none of us. Yet, We are all slaves. Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation was not about freeing the slaves, freeing the Negroes under slavery. It was about incorporating all the other skin tones, whether they be Asian or Caucasian or Indian or whatever, into the Emancipation Proclamation, making everybody a slave. That's what that was all about. And here we are today, seeing this stuff manifest, and everybody's sitting quiet. Now, there are activities going on. There was an activity going on today. They apparently went down to Ottawa. I don't know what it accomplished, but they went down today. The silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I have come to talk with you again because a vision slowly creeping in left its seed while I was sleeping. Okay. The seed of dominance. The New World Order is about destroying this realm or this world. The reset that everybody's talking about is New World Order, removing all memory of any activity that has happened in the last 100 years, just like they did in the 19th century. They are doing the same shit all over again. 1927, we're seeing Metropolis. That is actually showing what they actually had in that era of time. That wasn't fiction. That wasn't some creative concept. That was showing you what was really going on. And then 1929, there was a crash, and then we had a Second World War, which wiped out everything and every memory of that time. Now we have COVID. And COVID is a program. It's a cult program. Okay, it's a cult program. Cults say, oh, we're going to take care of you. Oh, you're long lost sheep. Come on in. Oh, yes, you're part of the family. Come on in. Yes, we'll help you find the truth. We'll help you in your spiritual quest. Come on in. We'll take care of you. Oh, COVID. COVID is a deadly disease. It is a pandemic. We need to protect you. Wear a mask. Wear some rubbers. You know, don't go anywhere. If you got to go somewhere, go, but don't go anywhere. Go, but don't go. Go, but don't go. We're going to protect you. Then they start the indoctrination process. Oh, now that you're part of the family, you got to know what's going on. You got to know the spiritual side of things. You got to know the scriptures. You got to know what's in that book. You got to know the teachings, the great teachings, the great enlightenment that we are going to give you. So now you sit there because you don't know anything about anything, so you're now listening and you're being fed, and you're being fed and being fed because you don't know enough to take a stand, to start researching what they're telling you, to research and read what they're telling you. You blindly trust what the cult is saying, and now the government, which is the head cult of the world is the UN. The UN religion. We're going to protect you. We're going to work on a vaccine for you. Just for you. We're going to get a vaccine, man. We're going to get it done in 2 years. Just you watch. We'll get it for you. We're going to get it for you. And when you get that, you'll be able to be free again. Now ask yourself this question. Free to go back to what is normal. What is normal? What is really normal? I'll tell you what normal is. Normal is getting up in the morning, bright and early, to go to a job you hate every effing day you're there, making very little money, barely enough to exist and survive on, and working long hours and low pay, and then coming home to a place that you will never own, or by the time you own the place, you'll be almost dead, so you won't be able to enjoy it. And maybe you might get lucky, you might, knock knees and bump bellies, or you might have a doobie, or you might get a buzz, or you get to come home and sit and watch television, see the hockey game, the football game, the baseball game, the basketball game, golf, bowling, scuba diving, skydiving, race car racing, watching soap operas, dramas, comedies, and just doing the same vicious guinea pig wheel, hamster wheel, You run, you run, you run, you run, you run, and you go nowhere. This is what is normal. The most emptiest of lives anybody could have. You know, what was that Beatles song? Woke up, fell out of bed, raked the comb across my head. I mean, running through that whole gambit. You know, that is normal. This is what they want you to go back to. You'll go back to normal. Oh, you'll get up in the morning and you'll have a fight with your wife or your girlfriend, and then you'll be miserable all day, and then you'll go out and you won't have a lunch made, and the coffee will be cold, and you drive into work, and then you got to work with people that you don't like, and then you got to put up with bosses that are so far up your backside they can count the cornflakes you had the night before, you know, and you get into this whole misery thing, and then you talk to the boys, and the boys want to go to the bar, and they have one or two drinks, they drive home drunk, and then you get pulled over by the police gives you a ticket, now your day's just been made, now you go home and you get into a big major spat, and your best friend, which will be your dog or cat, will be the only thing that you'll find comfort in. That is normal. Then on the weekends, on the weekends you get to have fun. You get to now go shopping. You get to now go spend your hard-earned money on groceries that you could barely afford, because now everything is quadrupled. And once in the blue moon, you get to go to a movie. And the highlight of your life comes from the other end of a bottle. That is what we call normal. That's what they want to give you. Imagine that. We're going to protect you. We're going to make this vaccine just for you. We're going to get you back into the scene. You're going to be able to work again. You're going to be able to be good slaves again. You'll be able to go outside again. You'll be able to. But first, we got to tag you like a dog. We got to chip, dip, and strip you. We got to know everything about you there is to know. We got to know what nails has a hangnail on what day. This is going to be normal. You won't be able to think a thought, because if you think a thought, the nanobots in your head will relay those signals to the AI. The AI will interpret what you're thinking. This effing place blows. It'll say, what? Citizen, we have to do something about your thought processes. You're too negative. Just too negative. It's like that... what was that movie Stallone starred in? Demolition Man. Demolition Man. Be well. Be nice. Have a good day. Oh, citizen, you need blah, blah, blah. And he starts swearing at the machine so he can get toilet paper to wipe his backside. You know. And when he was confronted by an underground, he says, be well, blah, 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 up yours, give me the gun. He had had enough of the New World Order, or the new normal. Imagine the new normal. The new normal. Instead of having a steak, having a hamburger. I love hamburger. I love a good hamburger. Oh man, you give me a good hamburger, I'm there. Hamburger, chicken, duck. Duck's another animal. I love to eat duck. Oh yeah. No duck al rancho. Duck with fat, garlic, salt, pepper. Duck, real duck. I'd eat goose, but goose is too expensive. I like goose eggs though. Anyway, but that's the normal I know. The new normal will be, you'll wake up in the morning, you'll take your tofu pill, you'll have your little cockroach dish on the side, that'll be your bugs, your beetles that they want you to eat, little ant on this side, caterpillar over here, grasshopper over there. That's your breakfast, and a little meat and tofu. Doesn't that sound appetizing? Oh my gosh, just sign me right up. Woohoo! Give me a double dose, and on top of that, that dose will be regulated. That'll be a portion. It'll be a portion dose. That's all you'll be able to eat until the next meal, which will probably be 12 hours later. So they're going to feed you with a half-assed, half-baked meals and starve you to death most of the day. Can you imagine the new normal? The new normal. And marriage won't exist. Song to year 2525, it'll be majority of that will sound prophetic. But that's what they want to railroad everybody into. Imagine that. Wake up in the morning, the first thing you see is a dish of cockroaches that they want you to eat. Look at the protein content in that cockroach. One cockroach has 10 grams of protein. Well, imagine that. That is more. That's just slightly more than an egg. And eggs, eggs, they shouldn't be eaten because of the cholesterol. But this is a lean and clean protein. Give me my hamburger, egg, and potato in the morning any day of the week, anytime, and I'm good to go. But the new normal will be by the time they get everybody to that stage. Because it's already happening now where the majority of people are so caught up in this hallucinatory state they're in, that I said to some of them today, if you told them that today you could take your mask off, you don't have to wear your mask anymore to go to the grocery stores or to the variety stores or to the box stores, you can now be mask free, these people will not take the mask off. Okay, Pavlov's experiments, Stockholm experiments, whatever you want to call them, they will keep those bloody things on because they'll be too afraid to take the mask off in fear of the boogeyman. COVID is coming for you. Ooh. The boogeyman that never existed. He's coming. He's coming. And you know what even more blows me away? Yes, I was feeling depressed. And I'll tell you why I was feeling depressed. I was depressed because two things. Again, I always get hit with a double whammy all the time. I was depressed because we're working so hard to make people see some things, or not make them, but to present them with things. And yet, the fear is overriding common sense. So that in itself can be a depression. It's not the my major depression was the planet is now dying, and it's on our watch that it's dying, and it doesn't have to be dying on our watch, or anybody's watch for that matter. When you got people so scared, you know, if you told them today that they were to go defecate in the toilet, that they would lose their arsehole, they would try to cork their butt. That's how stupid they are. You know, and I mean, and again, it may sound a little silly, but you know, you go take a poop in the toilet, but you're going to die. No, don't. You better cork your arse. Put a cork there, honey. They would believe it. They would believe it. This is the most far-fetched thing. I'll tell you something else. Today I was reading something in Windsor, in Essex County. Essex County, we got greenhouses all over the place. So we had 2 Mexicans come over and they died of the COVID. The COVID that you can't even test for. And all the media has to say is COVID. And people go, oh no, oh shit, where's my mask? Where's my condoms for my hands? Oh, COVID, oh. This is all you got to do. So 2 Hispanic people from Mexico come over here who were sick. They were sick before they even got here. Probably got exposed to the glyphosates and the pesticides that were being probably used in the greenhouse. And I'd bet you a dime to the dollar that's what actually killed them was the pesticides they were using. You know, they probably got exposed and killed over. And if they were already compromised, it wouldn't take much. But the media will come out and say, COVID, COVID, COVID. They died of COVID. And the media is nothing but one big boob tube liar. But now, let me get back to this. Because of an incident, you know, 2 people, it's unfortunate that they died, but I would probably look at the responsibility of the greenhouse where they were working. That's what I would be looking at. And if I was those people in Mexico, I'd be getting a lawyer and sue and seek litigation of what's going on. Just to do an investigation to make sure. Now the lawyers they'll probably get paid off. Oh no, we don't want to say they died of glyphosates. We don't want to say they died of atrazine. We don't want to say they died of some chemical reaction that they were exposed to. No, we're going to say they died of COVID. Here's $100,000. Go back home. It's Canadian. It ain't worth much, but in Mexico it's worth more than your money. Go home. Have a good time on the government of Canada. That's how it's played. But now they want to shut down all the greenhouses. Now imagine this. Now let's take this and let's look at that a little bit. Shall we look at that a little bit? In Essex County, in all of southwestern Ontario, we rely on those greenhouses to give us produce for the winter months. If those greenhouses do not function, there is no produce in the grocery store. Zero, nada, nothing. Not a thing. Okay? So, you have to start thinking in terms of, okay, so what is the real agenda here? What is really going on? What is really happening here? Why are they making these people stop the greenhouses? Could it be because the next part of the agenda is to curtail the food supply? Could it be that? Could it be that, you know, they just want to make sure that everybody is going to suffer intensely during the winter months? You're not going to be able to find the things you normally eat. Imagine that. Imagine that. We shut down these greenhouses. There's no produce for the stores. Supply is down. Market value goes up, way up. Imagine spending $3 or $4 or $5 or $6 or $7 or $8 for a head of lettuce. Forget the head. Half a head. Chop it up. That's $8, please. Imagine that. Could they be sabotaging the food supply? See, that's how I suspect. That's how I think. You know, 2 people died. That's an unfortunate reality. Happened. Let's check to see if the greenhouses were at fault. If they were, then proper payment should be made. Proper fine should be laid. Even if it wasn't the result of the greenhouse, and it was a result of them having a health issue before they got to Canada, then maybe we should forget about the whole thing. But see, these are people in Kingsville and maybe possibly Leamington that are raising hell over this, and they don't get the full story. They only get what the media tells them, and then they believe the media. They are gullible. They're like turkeys, you know. Basically, you crap and they gobble. Gobble, 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 crap, crap, crap. That's how they are. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to understand. They don't know how to interpret. All they know how to do is watch the TV. And the TV has been one big, massive lying machine. And it's been lying ever since its inception. But the MK Ultra program that they ran through the TV has convinced these people in this community to be this effing stupid. That's the unfortunate reality. And that can be depressing in of itself, to see somebody that stupid. It's hard for me to grasp anybody could be that dumb, or that ignorant, or that blind. It's really, I have a real hard time when I hear people talk in the terms they do, and I look at them and think, you are you're 4 years old. You're 4 years old. I'm 4 years old. 4 years old. And I think when we get to start dealing with people who are reacting to the media in such a silly way, I think we all need to, and I'm saying this with all earnest, don't be quiet. Say something. Ask a question to make them think. Present a statement that will make them ponder. See, as long as we are quiet, as long as we stay quiet, while they keep yimmering and yammering about whatever they're saying or doing, then they're going to continue believing the fairy tale. Even if they don't listen to you, even if they challenge what you're saying, even if they just say, no, that's conspiracy theory, that's fake news, you must be a Trumper. Say it anyway. Say it anyway. Sometimes you got to get past the bullshit, because that bullshit is their defense mechanisms. And once you break that defense mechanism, then you got their undivided attention, because you didn't back down. And if they get confrontational, continue to say whatever it is you got to say. And then say to them afterwards, what are you mad at? Are you mad at because I'm saying the truth and you can't handle the truth? Or are you mad because I'm saying the truth and you know it's true and you're frustrated because you don't know what to do? That's the reality. That is the reality. You know, and it's unfortunate, like I said, that the vast majority are asleep, but it's going to take the minority to wake up the majority. And I don't mean colored people. I don't mean Hispanic people. I don't mean ethnic people. I don't mean Europeans. I don't mean Americans or Canadians. When I'm talking minority, I'm talking about the small number of people that are actually awake. We just got to tell it like it is. Tell it the way it is and use whatever vernacular that works for you. And just speak. Now, whether or not they'll accept it, that is entirely up to them. But at least you have provoked them to think. I'll tell you a true story. I had a guy contact me. He emailed me and he said, I've been watching my programs. He's listening to me on one radio network and all these things. And he said, when I started talking about the chemtrails, he said that at that point I lost him. He couldn't buy the chemtrail idea. He just, no way, blah, blah, blah. 2 years later, he sends me an email and says, you know, I listened to your shows. I tried a lot of your remedies. A lot of your remedies worked really well. It took care of a lot of my issues. But I couldn't get past the chemtrails. He said, sorry, I just could not, you know, I couldn't buy it. But so I come to write to you today to let you know that, you know, now I see what you're talking about with the chemtrails. I get it now. Now, he would never have gotten that opportunity to get it if I never said anything. I used to argue like hell with Patrick Temponi on his show about a lot of different issues, and that was one of the issues I used to be very strong vocal about. And it was really funny because he used to always tell me that he never saw any chemtrails in his neighborhood. And then I'd get people 3 houses away writing to me emails saying, hell, they're all over the place. I don't know what he's talking about. And I used to say that to him, well, you know, guy who's 3 doors down from me writes me an email, says he sees them and you don't. Says, what are you smoking? What wacky tobacco are you on? You know, you have to really grasp something here. You know, biblically it says, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And really, that's all we're really offering anybody is the truth. That's it, the truth. So if we offer them the truth, it is up to them whether they receive it or not. If all they are going to do is be foolish, then don't waste your time either. I mean, there's a discernment there that, you know, if someone's saying something, you could say something to them, challenge them on things a certain way, and then they can then decide. But when we get into this one-sided, lopsided nonsense without any opposition, because this is where the press is not free. We don't have freedom of press in America, and we don't have freedom of press in Canada. What we got is bullshit. You know, how is it that Facebook can take off things? You know, before Facebook, you could write whatever you want. You could be trolled to death. You could have people come up there and cuss you out and swear at you, and they never removed anything like that. Same with YouTube. Now, the idea of freedom of expression on those channels doesn't exist. And they can take your stuff off anytime they want. You know, that's the unfortunate reality here that we're dealing with. So, like I said, if you don't tell anybody the truth or speak any truth whatsoever, there's not going to be any opportunity for anybody to hear anything or see anything. It's just not going to happen. You know, they're not going to be able to. You know, they're not going to be able to do anything, know anything, except whatever the media tells them. And that's what we're up against, is the media. But the media is very easy to, you know, derail. You know, it can be, it's not hard to derail. All you got to do is point out the things historically that the media has spoken about, and basically you can express beyond a shadow of a doubt that the media has gotten it wrong more times than ever, and we never really get the full story from them anyway. All we get is a partial glib of something, and then you know, the story's forgotten, we've moved on, and till the next 2 or 3 years later, you know, how many people remember the 90s? How many remember the 90s? In the 1990s, we had a different Asian flu, a different strain of Asian flu every year in the 1990s. Remember that? Pig flu, H1N1 flu, the Hong Kong flu, the Chinese flu, the Japanese flu, the Asian flu, the Filipino flu, the flu, the foo flu. How come we didn't shut down things then? Every year we had a different flu. I never got a shot then either. I'm still here. Holy smokes. Man, what are the odds of that? And the people that took the shots, are they still around? Mm-hmm. My point in all of this is this. If we say something, you know, like I said, when I went to the bank, I'm talking to the teller, telling her about the chemicals in the mask and the gassing and everything else, you know. And I'm telling you, it's beyond belief. Beyond belief. You know, she got it. She was understanding it. Another one tried to be Miss Big Shot. Oh, where's your mask? Where's yours? You know. And that's something we need to tell people as well. When someone says, "Where's your mask?" It says, "Just you can be polite about it, say none of your business, or you can be salt of the earth about it, up your arse." You know, mind your own business. We need to do this again. We need, in order to be able to express and be able to maintain our civil liberties, we need to tell people, butt out. You're not a part of my life. I don't know who you are. Who are you? Are you a cop, lawyer, priest, rabbi, pope, queen, king? Who are you? Alien? Oh, you're a nobody. Be about your business. That's it. Be about your business. And if they get aggressive, say, look, you don't see me asking you any stupid questions. I don't care what you do. I don't care where you wear your mask. On your nose, on your eye, up your arse. I don't care. But don't come trying to dictate policy to me. You are nobody to me. You are a nobody to me. You're not my mom. You're not my dad. We're not even related. Mind your own business. That's how you got to be. And you got to be firm. Now, I know for a lot of people that you're timid and you're shy and you don't really like being confrontational. And it can get confrontational. But you need to voice your truth, or you're going to lose your voice altogether. Today you're seeing them wear masks. Tomorrow you'll be wearing a costume. You won't have anything to say. You won't be able to do anything. You'll be completely stifled. That's what I mean. We need to be able to voice and speak out accordingly. And if someone decides to get all whatever, then tit for tat. Tit for tat. And if they do threaten that they're going to come and do something, just say, I'll just spit all over you. They'll stop. They'll stop. So they'll put you in the hospital, they'll put you on that ventilator, and you'll be dead. I win. That's all you gotta do. You know, all you gotta do. People today are not that brave. They're loud, they're boisterous, but hold your ground. Hold your ground. Tell them the truth. The truth might set them free. And I'm saying this not to get you in trouble, not to get you beat up, not to get you whatever. I'm saying this so you can say it however way things work for you to communicate, use that method that you have. God has given you gifts just like He's given me a gift, you know. So we all have gifts. Let's use them. You know what the Bible says, to what he has, more will be given. So if you start using those gifts, God will add to those gifts. I'm not saying he's going to make you rich. I'm not going to say he's going to make you wealthy or prosperous. He might. That's possible. It's up to him. But you'll see yourself develop in ways you never thought was possible. You know, you'll start seeing things you never thought you'd ever see. You'll learn things you never thought even existed. That in itself is a reward. And I'm not trying to be, you know, spiritual or anything like that. You know, like I said, I don't even like using the word so much. But we are looking at things today, and we have to look at things from a different angle today. We can't go by traditional concepts that we thought were true. Some of those things aren't. And we have to, like I said, figure that out as well. I was talking to a friend of mine down in Arizona, and I was saying to her, I said, you know, it's interesting that when I read certain things in the Bible when I was younger, they didn't make sense to me. But now, after studying nano, after studying artificial intelligence, after studying genetics, after studying, you know, different aspects of quantum, different aspects of health and biology, a lot of verses in the Bible seem to be falling in place now like never before. And it all depends on how you look at things. I guess is what it really boils down to. But when I look at Genesis, I understand now. I understand the concept of fornication and why fornication is on a biological level. Why we shouldn't be doing it. Because in fornication, what winds up happening is we are expressing a genetic exchange. Two shall become one flesh. That DNA now is being exchanged with somebody else's DNA, and now you're incorporating that DNA with your DNA. And if it continues to happen, it continues to go on, all of a sudden there can develop mutations as a result of corrupted DNA, corrupted genetics. Again, when we hear the term fornication, and we shouldn't be fornicating, we don't think in terms of DNA corruption, and we think of, oh, we're having sex, this feels real good. Why shouldn't I be able to have sex with as many women or as many men as I want to? That's why. So like I said, you know, when you understand some of the simple basic things that we should have learned by the time we were 8 years old, and the system was so efficient in not teaching us but programming, or turning us into rebels, that we never learned the things that we should have learned to understand the concepts and the principles, that godly concepts and godly principles that we should have grasped a long time ago. Like I said, I got to a point where I didn't believe in God, so I never even looked at His Word until I became a believer. But even then, after going through the process of becoming a believer and learning things, which, by the way, I still am doing, you don't get these things that you should be getting. And obviously, because I went through 2 cults, that was a whole different thing, because I was being indoctrinated, being taught how to do whatever it is they wanted me to do. So when we're looking at everything today, you know, and we start understanding the truth as we were meant to understand it, that's when our eyes really open. That's when we start to grow. That's when we start to maturate. See, the word perfection doesn't mean without flaw. It means to be fully mature. That's what it really means. So when we're fully mature, or we're perfected, that means we have come to the understanding of the truth the way we should have gotten a long time ago. And like I said, now as I understand certain things more and more in regarding to science, the Bible, how they correlate. This is why I always say many a time that if God is not the head of the equation, you don't have an equation. So if we look at God as the center, some people call Him source, some people call Him ground zero, some people call Him creator. If that part of the equation isn't at the center, where since God created, then we don't have anything. What we have then is some misguided, misleading truth that it isn't even real. The whole basis of creation comes from God. So it only stands to reason that God has to be in that center. So, and if he's not in that center, then everything that we're learning is off. All off. So that's the perspective I've gained from all of this so far. When I look at things today, the question I ask is, well, how do God made this? What is this supposed to do? Why is it working the way it's working? What is its main function or functions? And how does it work? How was it put together? I'm outside, and I'm seeing chemtrails, I'm seeing all this so-called COVID-19, COVID-20, COVID-2021, COVID-2022, COVID-2030, COVID-3030, COVID-4040, whatever. And the first thing I see flying around are sparrows. Now, isn't that interesting? The Bible says if God can take care of the sparrows, he can take care of everything else. So my question always is with sparrows is, how is God taking care of sparrows in a chemtrail loaded environment? You see the chemtrails on everything, yet the sparrows they're smaller, they're not healthy, completely healthy either, but they are being affected. But how is God how does God protect them? I have some theories on that, but these are the things that I look at. When God created this planet, he created with all kinds of defense mechanisms, which unfortunately we don't understand yet. Because if we understood it, there might be a possible way to neutralize some of this bad science or this bullshit science that we're being told is science. But that's how we have to look at things. That's how I look at things. Okay, God made the sun, made the sky, made the earth, made the air, made this, made that. Okay, this is in the air. What does God have in the planet that can neutralize whatever's going on? Is it a frequency? Is it a photon? Is it an electromagnetic field? Is it an electrical discharge? Is it a tree root, a herb, a plant, a leaf, a grass? Is it something in the dirt? Is it in the bacteria? See, these are, again, things that how we should be thinking. We would get more answers and more accuracy if we started looking at things from that angle. Well, God made the planet. Obviously, he had backups for backups, just in case something went wrong. So, when we're looking at that, we need to understand that, again, in any equation you're into, now, if you may not be into the sciences, that's fine. You might be into something else. You might be into interdimensional stuff. You may be into whatever. But God has to be the center of that equation too, because God made all the dimensions. So there's a reason why those dimensions are where they're at and why they're not seen. Could possibly be the place of like a jail or prison. And maybe in those dimensions there might be entities that might be trapped there that was meant to be trapped there so they wouldn't harm other planets. This is a concept. Speculation, a hypothesis, but again, something to get us to think about. Because when you hear about the Masonics and the Freemasons going into all these dimensions, really? Are they going into a dimension or are they going into the bowels of hell? Since their god is Lucifer. Something to think about. Like I said, it's all a matter of prospects. Anyway, in the pod tonight, I put a couple cartoons up there. I want everybody to see these cartoons. These are Joe cartoons. Joe cartoons are crude, crass, and hardcore cartoons. I'm going to let you know up front, they can be a bit hard on some of the... If you got a weak constitution, you may not want to watch them. But if you watch them, you'll find that what he has presented is what's going on today. There's a gerbil dive cartoon where these gerbils are jumping over the cliff, one after the other, getting killed. Look at me! Look at me! Look at me! That kind of thing. And the other is the gerbil in the microwave being nuked. That one I found funny. In a sick sort of way, I found that one funny. But if you get what is happening in that microwave with that gerbil You know, they put it on one. You know, yeah, now I'm in the microwave. Oh yeah. Oh ha ha ha. Oh you know you're. And he's making fun of the guy. Oh, you're hamster dancing. Blah blah blah. You know, the fingers and the nose and whatever. Till he gets up to the fourth or fifth, you know, setting where the microwave zaps the guy, the gerbils first. Says, oh, now he says, I hope you're happy. I'm naked. And then the fifth one where that gerbil's beating up the microwave. Boy, when I get a hold of you, beep 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 beep. When you see that in stages, that's what they're doing to the general population, slowly but surely poisoning them with radioactive or microwave or frequencies that they continually increase their volume and their activity and their modulation and their strength. That's what you see. And at the end, there's a mutation that forms. Imagine that. Imagine that. So watch the cartoon if you can handle it. If you can't handle it, don't worry about it. It's okay. Like I said, it's rude, crude, and crass. You know, so very salt of the earth. But it'll present to you what we're seeing out in the world there today. You know, it'll present to you all that. Give me a second here. Okay, we talked about that. Cartoons. Oh, but I forget. They are. We watched the program on YouTube about the swarm, and now they're programming these swarms to be able to be a better killing machine. You might want to watch this to get an idea of how the technology is being used, how AI in these swarms are going to be able to think, hunt, calculate, analyze, and pursue their target. Things you need to understand. And in a way to avoid these things, you'd have to be under a strong field, shielded, or in a place where they can't get to you. Okay, this is not an easy task. But anyway, you can go look up Swarm. It's a program that they did on the YouTube. You can watch it, or you can read this article to get the idea. Okay. And finally, a buddy of mine in Spain, Dave, sent me this video on NASA. It's a funny video. I'd encourage you to watch it. I titled it, Why I Don't Believe in NASA C60 or Anything Coming from NASA. And when you watch this, you'll understand that NASA is nothing but a stage. A stage. Never went to the moon. They've never been up in space. And you can see the direct connection to Lucifer and all the space programs out there. Imagine that. All having the same insignia. Wow. What more could you ask for? We're one big happy family. We are now titled, tattooed, and blued. Alright, on the site as well, there are people that are active. There's Yanni, there's Three Hearts Church, there's Brian, there's myself. I believe there's Shai or Shao in Israel. If you can help them any way you can, please do so. If not, don't worry about it. Share the links, share the information, share the data, spread it, spread it, spread it. You know, the more people that we can get the truth to, the more they can wake up, the more then we can basically tip the balance. If we can tip the balance, we can slow this stupidity down. Because then the next step will be to go after the politicians that are enforcing these idiotic rules and take them down. Remove them from power and office and put real people that have a real dedication to the general population in power and remove the old guard. Because we can't continue going this way. You know, this is going to slowly, this cult-like programming they're doing is going to eventually kill off a lot of you slowly but surely. So whether you die quick or you die slow, doesn't matter, they're going to kill you. And that's the way it rolls. That's what they've got planned. That's what they've had planned. They've even told us about the Georgia Guidestones and the Protocols of Zion. So the numbers are like 1 million difference. But the idea is the same. To reduce the population to 5 or 6 million people. We are in that realm. So I'll leave you again with the final thought. If you get a chance, read the Gospels. Read what Jesus had to say. follow him, talk to him, ask him to show you what he means and what he's saying. But I would encourage you to at least look at his words. Don't be shy, and it don't matter what you believe. Read them. Can't hurt you. What can it do? Well, it might enlighten you, might bring you to a new conclusion. You never know. But if you don't read, you don't know. So read the Gospels. I encourage everybody to read the Gospels. And on that note, till the next show, to your health. And remember this, by the grace of God, we are still here. All right, you guys have a good night.